You have questions, we have answers. This is Jane Muller.
And this is Ken Muller. Welcome to our show, all about real estate with Ken and Jane. Today we have as our guests Aaron and Owen McSweeney, the owners of the Mosquito Patrol. Aaron and Owen, big welcome to our show.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, so to get started with, tell us about the Mosquito Patrol, what types of services you guys provide for homeowners, and
So our main bread and butter is mosquito and tick control. The biggest thing that we do is we go and we service backyards to, rid mosquitoes and ticks, in their backyard so that they can enjoy their property on the weekends, during the week, parties, things like that. And then we do offer full pest control as well now. And Aaron has done a great job over the last 3 years getting his license and making sure that we can do a total home pest control for all customers on top of the mosquito and tick that we've done the last 10 years. So
That's great. I have a question, right? When you do the mosquito control, right? I mean, during the summer, everybody love you guys, right?
Yeah.
Particularly people like me, right? The mosquito loves me. Yeah. My blood must be so sweet. So they always, my husband can be there, nothing happened. I have 20 bites already.
Yeah.
So when you guys spray it, how long does it last? Or how often do they need to repeat
Normally what we like to tell our customers is that we spray on a 14-day cycle. Mm-hmm. Now the thing is that our label tells us, well, actually it can withstand up to 17 to 18 days of spraying or of a mosquito-free backyard. But the problem is, in the state of New Jersey, we get a lot of torrential downpour. Just like we've gotten over the last couple of weeks. Every time it rains, you're getting half an inch, a full inch, and it's coming down hard. Yeah, a lot of flooding lately. Well, unfortunately, because of the total amount of rain, we come back a little bit sooner than the recommended label guideline, just to make sure that we're reapplying and giving you what we call an overlap of protection, so that you're not having to deal with a couple days of bites. Whereas a lot of our competitors, they'll do a 21-day cycle every 3 weeks. But if it's only lasting for 17 days on a perfect cycle, you're still having to deal with 4 days before, they come out and reapply. So we found that with the same amount of volume that those guys do throughout a season, we'll come more frequently. We just spread it out over time. And it has been an absolute blessing because all of our customers, they very rarely...
Mosquito-free, right?
Yeah.
Flurry-free, mosquito-free, tick-free.
Yeah, a lot of people do end up picking us over, other people because of the frequency.
Well, that's good to know. And before we get too far into the program, please give your phone number and your website.
Absolutely. It's so you can give us a call on our office line, 732-354-2229. Or if you want to get some more information about our services and what we can do for your home, you can visit us at www.njmosquitopatrol.com and get some more information.
Okay, cool. So what is the strategy when you do the spraying? Like how do you, let's say you have somebody has a half-acre piece of property. Do you spray like the shrubs, the grass, or what gets sprayed to prevent the mosquitoes from coming onto your whole property when you're outside?
So we spray basically everything. More or less when we treat somebody's property, we do up both sides of the driveway, up the front walkway, around the front door. And what that does is when somebody's getting out of their car and they're going into their house, it stops them from getting bit. Typically, we don't spray the entire front grass because most people aren't hanging out there. So we want to give that little bit of protection to get them into the house, and then the entire backyard, the whole perimeter, bushes, shrubs, trees, everything like that, all the grass, and then on the main patio sitting area underneath, all their chairs and furniture, things like that, to make sure that they're hanging out in those areas, around pools, just wherever somebody, if I see chairs in a certain area that looks like they could be hanging out, I'm definitely going to hit that area a little bit harder to make sure that, if somebody does decide, during a party they want to go and sit off to the side, especially on the bigger properties, it's a little bit harder to kind of see where they might hang out. So you kind of just want to find them and, but we spray everything, but we go a little bit heavier where we know that people are sitting there and trying to enjoy themselves.
Right. And the spray acts as a deterrent. So the mosquitoes, if there's something in the spray, like an aroma or a scent, that the mosquitoes, when they're flying around, they just say, "I don't want to go there. I'm going to go next door." What is it that the spray does? It either deters them or it kills them or what?
So the biggest thing about our product is It's a scented barrier for mosquitoes specifically. So when we spray the property, essentially it says it's supposed to mimic the chrysanthemum flower, and the mosquitoes don't like the smell of it. So what it does is it puts up a bubble around the property, and it keeps the mosquitoes out. But it's also, when the mosquitoes or other insects come in contact with the product, it does break down their nervous system. So it mainly works for insects that have an outer nervous system, and it breaks them down that way.
An exoskeleton.
An exoskeleton, yeah. So
Yeah.
when we do the application, if they come in contact with any of the treated, bushes, shrubs, grass, patio, things like that, it'll take care of them that way. Otherwise, once we kind of get them out within the first 24 to 48 hours, it becomes that scented barrier, and that's where the rain can sometimes become a problem in the longer side of the cycle.
Right.
Is that the scent kind of goes down. It's like chalk on pavement. Kids go out and they draw pictures. It'll withstand through a couple days of rain, but heavy, heavy rain multiple times.
Which we had this summer.
Yeah.
So we need to. They need to be on top of it with, with the cycle and keep repeating the application. Yeah. And what's the cycle that you guys typically do for the season? You start in the spring and you carry it out till the fall, or what? How long? How much of a duration does it have to go?
So what we like to tell our customers is we like to do what's best for you as the homeowner, right? But our spraying season typically starts at the beginning of April, and we'll spray all the way through till about Halloween, maybe into November, depending on the needs of our customers. But mosquito season starts right when it's average of 50 degrees Fahrenheit at night, average. So it could be March, it could be April, but we would rather prefer start spraying in April, make sure that you're covered by the time the holidays hit, the summer holidays. And then typically we spray a little bit later in the season more for ticks. Halloween, getting past Halloween, getting into November, ticks are a year-round pest. They're not just during the summer. So a lot of the times, a lot of our customers that do get sprayed towards the end of the season, they have a lot of tick problems. So we're making sure we're taking care of them.
And is there a different spray application that you use for the ticks? Probably, right?
No.
It's the same. It's the same one they use for the mosquitoes.
It's the same thing for everything.
And ticks are afraid of it the same way that the mosquitoes are too.
It's more. It's not really a deterrent for ticks the same way it is the mosquitoes. It's more the on contact. So when there's deer and little field mice, rodents, things like that, chipmunks, and they run through their yard, there might be a tick on them and they'll drop off. And then when the tick comes in contact with it, because the product is more or less a general insecticide, so it does take care of other insects. But when we do our servicing, we're guaranteeing the mosquitoes and ticks specifically on their packages that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's, by the sound of it, the product is very much pet friendly, pet free. So
that was my next question, because all the people listening are going to ask, what about my pets? And if they go out, they sniff the grass, they sniff the bushes. Is it pet safe for them?
For my husband, right, the two dogs lined up ahead of me, okay? So if there's a very limited resources, he will make sure the dog gets first, and then him and me maybe down the bottom.
That's right.
You wouldn't be the first person that told us that, trust me.
I tell you, right? You guys know how busy I am,
we're
right?
in particular in putting any fertilizer, any lawn application on the backyard, just because the dogs spend so much time out there, and occasionally they're going to nibble on the grass and roll in the grass, and even though I guess it dries and after a certain amount of time, and it's probably okay to do it, to treat it, but just try to err on the side of caution. And
my husband's extremely cautious.
At least try to protect them as best possible. Yeah.
Well, that's the name of the game when you have loved ones, right? You always want to make sure that they're taken care of without giving them any adverse side effects. And when we first started our business, or I should say my father first started this business 10 years ago, back in 2015, 2016, he wanted to make sure that we would have no issues when performing these applications. That comes with children, pets, outdoor animals, whether you have an outdoor cat or you have a raccoon that loves to hang around. We wanted to make sure that they would be okay. Now, here's where things tend to get a little funky in the way that we present the product. The DEP does not allow us to use the word safe when it comes to chemicals.
Okay.
Whenever you deal with chemicals, there's nothing safe about them. I'll just be totally upfront and honest. It's how you use them, and it's about whether you listen to the directions of the label. The label is the law, is what they say. So as long as you give the product 15 to 20 minutes to dry, the dog can go outside again, the kids can roll around in the grass. It's just do what is necessary for the label, giving it time to dry, and then everybody goes outside again. It's a big concern for a lot of homeowners about my dog and my kids. Well, in the 10 years of business, we've never once had any issues, not one, and we stand by that.
That's very important because, I remember when our daughter was young, right? A lot of family gathering, the kids just crawl in the backyard. I remember once I put a blanket on there, and all the other mom laughed at me, thinking I was crazy. Said, "Well, why you have to put a blanket in actually our family's backyard?" They said, "This is not public area. This our own backyard is clean. Why you put a blanket?" Because back in my mind, I was worried about ticks or possible pests. So but if as long as it's dry, it's safe. I think a lot of people would be at ease.
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback off of what Aaron said, it's nothing in this world is truly safe. Too much chocolate,
too much of anything is bad.
Too much water,
too much.
So it's really a matter of as long as you're kind of listening to us when we say, hey, give it that time to make sure that it has that time to dry, then you can continue to do what you want to do in your backyard. We have customers who have dogs, that chew the grass like cows. And really the dog's gonna
our dog has
the dog does once in a while. That's why.
I mean, here's the thing: the dog's gonna get sick with the grass before anything else that has to come with us. Yeah. So it's
But it's very pleased to hear as long as it's dried, and then they would be okay. Because some product, I know the label is important, is illegal, but sometimes some product, maybe after dried, you still can't touch it.
Oh, yeah.
But if it's good enough for the human, for the kids, and for the pet, I think more family would be
inclined to utilize your services so they can enjoy the outdoors. Because I think a lot of people feel like they're trapped to the inside once it becomes dark outside, or even in the afternoon if it's a humid day. I've been pulling weeds and doing light gardening, and then I get bit by these mosquitoes at like 4 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right? Yeah. So I mean, it's they're out there all the time. It's a misnomer to think that they're only out there at the evening time.
Even the daytime, I show a house came back 10 mosquitoes.
Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Anytime.
And I guess the townships do some mosquito spraying. We get notifications sometimes, but that's just a localized. It's not going to really help your backyard, which is what you guys do customize.
Yeah, it's a lot of the marshy areas and things like that they do. Township wise to kind of, keep everything kind of intact over there. Yeah. But the best thing is to have your
application
especially
right
before the big event.
Of course.
Sure we're going to go to break, but before we do, please give your contact information once again for our listeners.
Yeah, so we're NJ Mosquito Patrol. You can find us at www.njmosquitopatrol.com or give us a call at 732-354-2229.
All right, very good. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after these messages. Okay, welcome back to our show. We're joined by Aaron and Owen McSweeney of Mosquito Patrol, guys. So I want to talk now about this the famous New Jersey mosquito that you guys mentioned. That New Jersey's mosquitoes have a particular traits to them. They're known as being especially big and brutal, right?
Absolutely brutal, and it's thanks to it's the urban mosquito. It's the suburban mosquito. Typically, what happens? It's evolved over the last 20 to 30, even 40 years, due to just waste and garbage. Now, what happens is with mosquitoes is they typically like to breed in standing water. As much as a bottle cap. We're talking a fluid ounce of water to lay eggs. Each egg has 300 mosquitoes. You got to imagine that can bloom into 1 million over the course of a month. Now, what happens with the standing water I mentioned earlier is, you get paint cans or you get, waste that might be in a garbage can. And over the years, these mosquitoes have actually evolved to be able to breed in those waters. And because of that evolution, they're stronger, they're tougher, and they're angry. They're very pissy. So a lot of the times, a lot of our customers in more suburban areas, they might not have a lot of standing water around their yard, but They don't know what happens with their neighbors. It could be a pool that hasn't been opened in 15 years. It could be a forgotten vegetable, garden that has planter pots sitting around. It's sometimes it's not even your own backyard that gives you the problems. It could just be somebody that might not haven't taken a walk around and emptied out the pails, and it's as simple as that. Making sure that you don't have any standing water around the yard. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, standing water is a breeding ground, and then especially people that live by the rivers or lakes, they're more, in particular, they're more prone to the mosquitoes just because you have the natural water bodies.
I think natural water, they're moving, they're not much. Mainly is the
standing water.
Still. Just like you said, if you had a ring, you had a pot out there, the ring, they collect some water from the ring.
That becomes a breeding ground.
A problem.
That's exactly what it is.
In those moving water areas, it's more or less kind of when it floods and it pushes over onto the side of wherever it's been moving. Now it's turned into that standing water, and that's where that can become the problem. It's if the water is moving, then they don't really have a chance to sit there and allow the eggs to do their thing. It's when it goes over and then the water is just still is when it becomes that problem.
Right. Yeah, and mosquitoes, to my knowledge, don't really have any redeeming value. At least the mosquitoes that bite us don't. There's different populations. Because I did Google it. I said, "What is the purpose for mosquitoes?" And they said, for the part that bites everybody, they really have no underlying purpose. I mean, maybe there's some ecological value they provide, but some of them provide certain, I don't know, pollination maybe for certain species, but the mosquitoes that we want to get rid of are the ones that are just the bad guys, and they just want.
I just wonder. That's why technology is so advanced. Why can't we do something?
Well, nature takes care of them in a way because you have all the bats that go out every night, and they chew millions of mosquitoes. I know we have probably a few 100,000 bats in New Jersey, and they're flying every square mile. I see them at nighttime, and they're swarming.
If I could sell them, I would do it.
If you could program the bats, you could have an arsenal, and you could let them out, and
if I could sell
them.
bat boxes and bats to folks, I would much rather do that. To be honest with you, it's all natural. Keeps the bats.
We had a neighbor that tried to house a bat. They put actually a bat box. Remember, Mark tried a few. I don't think the bats took, but he always saw them flying around, so he tried to build a bat box.
They're fantastic.
House them, and and if you could have them as a pet or as a wild pet, and then they would take
I don't think
something.
So.
Yeah.
But to answer your question,
easier to call these guys.
No, definitely give us a call anytime. But to answer your question, Ken, no, mosquitoes really. I mean, other than being a food source for I don't know if it's a wide variety per se, but like you mentioned, you have bats. Then you have in some of the standing water like lakes and ponds and stuff like that, sometimes specific fish will eat the larvae, stuff like that. But other than that, mosquitoes are the deadliest animal on the planet. But they really don't have a purpose other than that.
Transmitted disease. So let's talk about the health risks that people, for another good reason that people should give you guys a call is not only because they're a nuisance and they provide constant itching and annoyance, but also what are some of the health risks associated with mosquitoes, and we can then talk about ticks too.
So one of the actual big things we don't in New Jersey, we don't see too much of mosquito-borne illness. We do every so often, dengue fever and yellow spotted fever, Rocky Mountain. I think it's Rocky Mountain fever.
I believe that's through ticks.
Oh, okay. Well, I apologize, but in New Jersey, we see very few of them. But actually, what should be a big concern for pet owners specifically is mosquitoes can actually give rise to heartworms in dogs.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big things that I actually think in terms of mosquito-borne illnesses, I think is a big problem. Because again, we're in such an advanced part of the world where we actually don't deal with too many of mosquito-borne illnesses. It's when you get into ticks. When it actually becomes an issue. Now we're talking Lyme's disease and the new disease that's actually sprung up over the last couple years called alpha-gal syndrome. You ever heard about this before?
No.
Alpha-gal syndrome is a new tick-borne illness where if a tick bites you, it transmits their saliva to your body, and it basically rewires your ability to be able to consume and process meat in your stomach.
Wow.
So it's pork, lamb, red meat, makes you sick.
Wow.
And that's become essentially a big concern for homeowners in New Jersey, not only just Lyme's disease, but this particular disease, where you can't even eat specific foods that you've been eating for
it's
your
a
whole
concern.
life.
It's a concern for the poultry industry too. They'll lose business. I know. That's
I think a lot of clients, right? I mean, our clients when they purchase the house, if it's in kind of a little bit of rural area, first thing they were concerned to put a fence up, so to keep the deer out, like you said,
for the Lyme disease,
they
right?
can chop off the animal body. So on your grass.
Now is the tick the same? Is it the same type of tick that causes that illness as the one that does the Lyme disease, or is it a different tick?
It's the same one.
The same tick. The deer tick is the same one that causes that alpha.
Deer tick, Lone Star tick, the Texas Lone Star tick, or the deer ticks. Yep. They're both very similar. Whether it's a baby tick that received it from their mother, or the mother itself, because a lot of the times, if you didn't know this, mosquitoes and ticks, they only draw blood for reproductive purposes.
Yes.
Sometimes a male tick will bite, but most of the time the blood is actually used to reproduce.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They need nutrition too, Ken.
They need. They got to eat everything.
No,
everything needs to.
It's nectar and vegetable nectar. Yeah, really is what they actually consume. It's the blood that's needed for reproductive purposes. Yeah.
And what are some good practices for homeowners to take to prevent ticks, other than of course hiring you guys to treat the areas, all the bushes areas, but if you keep the grass areas pretty much well cut and trimmed, right? The ticks really don't like to be in the heat or in the low lying grass areas, right?
Yeah.
From what I understand, they like more like the woods, the shade, the lush, the bushes, the thick wooded areas.
Yeah, so the best thing for anybody to be able to do is just keep your yard maintained. You see a lot of it when, homeowners aren't cutting their grass. They're not trimming back the bushes, and they're just letting their yard kind of grow to the disaster. And unfortunately, it, like Aaron mentioned before, it may not be you. It could be a neighbor next door. You could do everything under the sun to make sure that your yard is as clean and neat as possible. And I'm not saying, everything needs to be, absolutely perfect, but you keep that maintenance, once a week, once every other week, things like that on top of doing our applications, just to make sure that you're kind of doing the best you can for yourself, let alone everybody else, your neighbors and anybody that could be, even stepping on the property, dogs that kind of, do their business, unfortunately, sometimes, your neighbor's dogs, things like that. Just anything you can do to kind of cut everything back and make sure it's as neat as possible stops the ticks from being able to kind of hang out and hide as best as they can.
I have a question, totally unrelated. Okay.
Okay.
Do you have anything to kind of deter the squirrels? Let me tell you a story. I just bought a new car. Okay, that was years back. I just bought a new car. Like a month later, I was driving. I saw the light was on. I thought, hang on a minute. The red light, something was on. I know nothing about a car. This is only a month old. So I called, rescheduled my appointment, straight went to the car dealer.
Right.
I said, I just got a car. Yeah. And I thought it was warranted. I just got a car a month, right? Yeah. Brand new. So they checked it. They said, you're in luck. The squirrel chewed one of the wire. That's not warranted. So,
a couple $1,000 later, it was fixed.
Yeah, a couple of thousand.
And I had this same thing happen to my truck a few years later, where the squirrel actually, luckily, it chewed part of the gasoline hose line without damaging the tank, so it was able to be repaired at a cost of like $500. But I did some research, which was a little bit better. But I did some research, and actually I found something online that I use on a regular basis. It's peppermint spray, natural peppermint spray. I did a lot of Googling, and actually the mechanic that I went to told me, you can try the peppermint spray. Don't go crazy. Yep. So I spray a little bit on the hood, the top of the car, and pretty much around the perimeter, just underneath the car, so to kind of deter, and we try to do it once a week, twice a week. I try to do all the cars, and since then, knock on wood, we haven't had that problem. But I'm hopeful.
Do you guys do anything? Not everybody, like Ken would do if he's on vacation or something. I'm not gonna do what
right. So do you
guys do anything? Any your customer call you for the squirrel?
No. So unfortunately, that's more animal control. We deal with pest control where it's rodents and things like that.
Mice and rats.
Mice and rats. We don't deal with squirrels and raccoons.
And it may not even be squirrels. It could be the chipmunks. It could be a mouse. It could be rats.
Yeah, the best thing are just those cages and, put some food in and, let it out somewhere far away from your house is the best thing I would say.
No, we dealt with all that groundhogs in the past. Our dogs, well, actually, our dogs took care of the groundhogs, so we didn't have to worry. But that was unfortunate, so we have about 2 minutes left. So, guys, so what other pest control you deal with, like mouse and rats people have in the house, or if they needed to be removed, that type of pest?
Yeah, so we actually we are just about full service pest control, whether it comes down to ants and crickets or spiders, fleas, like we mentioned, mice and rats. We can take care of it all, whether it's inside your home or outside your home. We have plans that can absolutely take care of just about anything. We tailor make these packages built for your needs. It's not one service fits all. It's the service has to fit all of our customers. So we'll make it work. But we do wasp control. We do ant control. It's a matter of just give us a call, and we'll see what we can do to make sure that you're taken care of. These happen.
That's great. Share your number again.
Yeah, share your number again so they can give you a call.
Absolutely, yeah. Give us a call anytime at 732-354-2229, or you can visit us on our website at www.njmosquitopatrol.com.
Okay, it was very informative today. We learned a lot about mosquitoes and ticks, more than we want to know, and it's a little bit scary with all those illnesses that are out there. Yeah. So you got to keep those guys under control, and definitely
make sure you do your tick checks always whenever you're outside.
Yeah, we do. I do. Yeah, and also if you have animals, you want to check them on a regular basis. Dogs, cats, right? They look for any ticks. They can do a lot of damage. So, all right, we're out of time. We hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you, Aaron and Owen, for being our special guests today. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.